And how's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Kyle Corner. Well, the true measure of any player depends on how he responds when his number is called. Junior guard Tyler Larson got his shot on USD's most recent road trip. Larson, a key reserve for most of the season, came up big at IUPUI, scoring 11 of his 13 points in the second half to help the Coyotes snap their 8-game road losing streak. That was enough to earn Larson another run with Joey James' first 5 as USD returned home for a weekend set with Omaha and Western Illinois.
Coyotes hoping to settle the score with the Mavericks after dropping a 4-point decision in Omaha last month. Looked like they might roll early on. Trevor Grew stumps it off to Tyler Flack for the easy 2. Coyotes up 10 with about 11 and a half to play in the half. UNO storms back in the hot hand of Mike Rostampor. The big man scored 11 first-half points to bring the Mavericks within 3 at the break. USD would regain control about midway through the second, and the bench led the way off the turnover. Adam Thosby takes it end-to-end for 2 of his 16, and the Yotes are up 4. They'd add to that advantage with Casey Kasperbauer. The sophomore hits from way downtown, his second 3 of the night. Yotes built the lead to as many as 9. It was down to 2, though, as they hit the final minute. That's where things really got interesting. Thosby gets denied at the rim, but Brandon Boss there for the putback. 82-78 Coyotes. 20 seconds later, Flack lays it in. He tied his career high with 21 points. And it's a 5-point USD lead. It seemed at the time like that might be enough, but the Mavericks' Caleb Steffensmeyer says, not so fast. Buries the 3 to cut the deficit to 2. After Boss converted 1 of 2 free throws to get the lead back to 3, Steffensmeyer hits again. He'd missed his first 4 shots of the night, but he hits the 2 that matter, and we're tied at 86. Out of a timeout, Coyotes trying to make something happen before the horn, and Trey Norris fouled by Marcus Tyus. That sends Norris to the line for 2 free throws. He hit the first to put the Coyotes in front, and after he intentionally missed the second, Omaha gets one last chance. CJ Carter got a great look, but he can't get the shot to fall, and the Coyotes survive a wild one. 87-86 the final. Tyler Flack again leading the way with those 21 points, but it was the bench that really came up huge. 49 points, with 42 of those coming from the trio of Thosby, Kasperbauer, and Boss. Way too close for comfort, but they'll take it.
That's why it's a team game, right? When some people have off nights, you got other guys that are extremely talented and they can step up and put the points on the board, rebound. I mean, Flack did it all tonight. I thought he was exceptional. But it was really everyone. I thought everyone played great. Bits and pieces from everybody, whether it was scoring or rebounding, getting stops, some things that don't even show up on the stat sheet.
Western Illinois was up next Saturday afternoon. Final home game for Coyotes seniors Karim Rousen and Trevor Gruss, and both guys would have an impact. First half give and go for Gruss, and he shows some springs. Coyotes up 4 early. A few minutes later, it's Rousen's turn. 24, spots up and pops the 3 to make it 24-17 in favor of USD. Leathernecks cut into that deficit with Jabari Sandifer, the freshman. End-to-end for the and 1. Visitors score 5 straight to get within a pair. Coyotes answer Sandifer's 3-point play in a single stroke. Casey Kasperbauer from way outside. USD would lead by 6 at the half, and they would pick up where they left off to start the second. Gruss finds a wide-open Tyler Larson for 3. Coyotes open the half on a 7-2 run and extend the lead to 11. But Western's youngsters erase that in a hurry. Sandifer kicks it out to Garrett Covington. 3rd tray of the day for him. He led all scorers with 19. Later, Sandifer keeps it himself, slices through the paint for 2 of his 12 points. Part of a 13-1 run for the Leathernecks, and it's a 1-point game. Coyotes quiet things down from there. Off the Sandifer miss, Larson gets aggressive. Coast to coast for 2. He had 10, all of them in the second half. And it was the seniors that helped put it away from there. Gruss with a great look to Rousen. He paced the Yotes with 11 points. Next time down, Gruss showing off some of that fancy footwork. around Michael Ocherobia for the easy 2, and the Coyotes, who'd lost 6 straight to the Leathernecks, finally turned the tables with a 64-54 win. A fitting home farewell for 3 really valuable seniors, not only Gruss and Rowson, but former student athlete turned student assistant Steve Tecker as well.
At least I was on the bench though, and not in the stands. That was nice to get acknowledged before the game even started. And I mean, I'm there in the locker room with them. I'm in all the huddles and stuff. So I'm still a part of the team. I'm still going through the same stuff, sort of, but I'm just not playing.
Now with that win, the Coyotes are guaranteed to be seated no lower than 5th for the Summit League tournament, and they still have a chance to move up at least 1 spot if they can get a couple of wins this weekend. They'll be at North Dakota State on Thursday before wrapping up the regular season Saturday afternoon in Brookings against SDSU.
USD will carry a 3-game winning streak into the final weekend of the regular season. We'll talk more about that with head coach Joey James when we return. It was a weekend sweep for the USD men this weekend. Coyotes picking up wins over Omaha on Thursday and then Western Illinois on Saturday. And here to break it all down with us is Joey James, head coach of the Coyote men. And Joey, let's start with Omaha. This is a team that nipped you down there, and I know it felt like one that you guys let maybe get away a little bit with the way things played out down there. So had to feel good to come back and not only play well, but you kind of beat them at their own game in some ways.
Yeah, I tell you, Omaha is a team that puts a lot of pressure on your defense. I mean, those guards are really quick. They get down the court in a hurry, and they're tough. They're a really, really good basketball team. And when they start getting that thing going offensively, they're hard to slow down. But we did enough in that game. I thought late game situation, we kind of did a poor job there by not executing and finishing out the game like I would like us to. I believe we were up 9 with about 3 to play. And I thought at that point we probably should have closed the game out and ended up winning by 8 or 9 points. But Omaha's a very good team, and I knew it wasn't completely over at that point. But we definitely need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball and finishing the game out instead of making it so close at the end there.
Well, let's talk about that because the end was crazy. A flurry of activity over the last minute and change, really. Like you said, you guys were up 9 with about 3 minutes to go. Take it down to even about a minute to go, and I think the lead was 5-6 points at different times. And then Caleb Steffensmeyer hits a couple of threes late for them. He had been 0 for 4 on the day, and he hits a couple of really tough threes, ends up tying the game at 86, and then talk about what happened from there, because you guys call a timeout. You have time to draw up a play and try to get that last shot, and it worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how things go sometimes. You know, we did a pretty good job of guarding them from the three-point line. I think they shot 29% in the game, which was pretty good from a defensive standpoint. But Steffensmeyer hit 2 big threes. Unfortunately for us, tie ball game, called a timeout. We set up a play to get Trevor the ball. Once again, tie ball game, we were confident enough that if he got fouled, he was going to step up at the free throw line and make a shot for us and win the game. But they end up doubling off of that, left Trey Norris wide open. We threw it to him, and they fouled, and Trey did a really nice job of stepping up there and knocking in that first free throw, which was key to the game.
And then on to Saturday, a team comes in here, Western Illinois, that you and I have talked about. They have had your number, but you finally figured out a way to get it done and get past the Leathernecks.
Yeah, I mean, we've yet to beat these guys since joining Summit League play and lost a lot of close games to them. And finally we dug in and got the job done. But I tell you what, I thought on Saturday our defense was absolutely incredible. We held them to 17% from the three-point line. Overall, it was pretty good. I mean, our guys were really, really in tune to the game plan, and they really executed it.
It was tight throughout. I mean, you guys got up 11 early in the second half, and then they cut it to 1. You got up 6, and they cut it back down to 2 or 4 or whatever it was. But appropriate that on senior day, Trevor Gruss and Karim Rowson are the two that really helped you put it away.
They did. You know, they double Trevor every time we play him. At least this year they have. And you know, he has struggled with that at times, but down the stretch of that game, He made a nice pass to Karim, who finished the layup, and then he was real patient and had a nice little duck in, up and under move, and I thought that was nice closure to it. And unfortunately fouled out, but he had a pretty good game. But I thought Karim was great down the stretch. I mean, we got him in that post against Garrett Covington, and he just went to work on him. Two great guys though, and I'm glad we're able to win the game and send them off on a good note.
Yeah, 64-54 the win. With that victory, you guys lock up at least the 5 seed for the Summit League tournament. In all probability, with 3 teams in front of you with 4 losses, that's more than likely where you're going to sit. But there's a chance to move up if you get 2 wins this weekend against your rivals North Dakota State and South Dakota State. So something to play for, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it doesn't matter at this point. You know, if we end up being a 4 or 5 seed, you're still going to play. You know, the same team in that aspect. But yeah, we are still trying to play to win the games this week against 2 very good teams, and we want to continue to play confident and lead that straight into conference tournament play.
All right, well, good luck to you. We'll see you back here next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Joey. Well, the Coyote women earned a split in their final road trip of the regular season. We'll have the highlights from their games at Omaha and Western Illinois right after this.
Well, if the goal is to be playing your best basketball in March, then the USD women have certainly been heading in the right direction. After an 0-4 start in the Summit League, the Coyotes rebounded with 5 wins in their next 6 games, including last week's thumping of then first place IUPUI. That moved USD into a tie for 3rd heading into their final road trip of the regular season, which started Thursday night at Omaha.
USD beat the Mavs by 24 a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed like Taji Kelly took that personally. The junior center hurt the Coyotes early and often in this one. She scored 14 of her game-high 24 in the first half to help Omaha build a 40-27 halftime lead. But that wasn't safe. Coyotes had a little extra jump to start the second. Rachel Contreras attacks the rim to get things started. Then it's Lisa Loeffler up and over Kelly for 2 of her 15. And just like that, it's a 9-point game. Nicole Seekamp picked it up from there. Ty Hebiller finds her for the first of 3 straight threes, which brought the Coyotes within a pair. Seekamp still not done. Scored 11 of her team-high 18 in less than 5 minutes to put the Coyotes up 1. The Mavericks took it right back. Michaela Shaw blows by Loeffler for 2 of her 17, and a couple of possessions later, Maddie Robson delivers the dagger. Omaha closes the game at a 12-3 run to win it 69-61. It was the 5th loss in 6 Summit League road games for the Coyotes. That meant USD had to win Saturday at Western Illinois to get back into that 3rd place tie. Leathernecks hit 13 threes in the first meeting. 7 of those came from Michelle Maurer. She gets another one early. Finished 2 for 8 from outside. Meanwhile, Ashley Luke had a big night for the home team. WIU's Player of the Year candidate scored 13 in the first half. Coyotes matching the next step for step. Holly Harrington going to work inside. That 2 ties the game at 20. It was one of 6 ties in the first half. Nicole Seekamp even things up again off the give and go. 32 up at the break. It would stay close throughout. Second half, Maurer drops the jumper. She had 17, and Western is within 3. They were up 1 a few minutes later, but Contreras changes that right here. 3 of her 15, 65-63 Coyotes. Fast forward to the final minute. Ty Hebiller breaking ankles. 11 points, 10 rebounds for her 3rd double-double of the season. Luke and the Leathernecks wouldn't quit, though. The sophomore put up a career-high 31 points on 12 of 24 shooting, but it wasn't enough. USD hits its free throws down the stretch and holds on for the 79-76 win. 6 players in double figures for the Coyotes in this game, led by Nicole Seekamp with 18. We mentioned the 11 points, 10 boards for Hebiller. She also added 7 assists. With the victory, USD moves into what's now a 3-way tie for 3rd in the Summit League with Western Illinois and Fort Wayne. Coyotes wrap up the regular season at home against North Dakota State and South Dakota State this weekend. And that's good news for USD. They're 10-1 at the Dakota Dome this season.
So the Coyotes control their own destiny heading into the season's final weekend. We'll find out how head coach Amy Williams feels about that right after this.
1 out of 2 on the weekend for the USD women, and here to recap it is the head coach, Amy Williams. And Amy, you started Thursday night in Omaha, and you guys have been pretty well red hot as of late. And you know, we talked about it last week. You went into the trip knowing that, well, now we've got to carry it with us on the road. And at the start of that game, it just wasn't there for you.
Yeah, very disappointing the way we came out in that first half. We dug ourselves too big of a hole to overcome. Just, you know, not the same intensity on the defensive end of the floor that we'd been seeing at home. And you know, we learned a big lesson on that in that ball game. You know, you can't try to turn it on and overcome that kind of a deficit.
Whatever you said at halftime, though, must have taken hold, because it was like a different team coming out of the locker room, charged all the way back, ended up taking the lead at a couple of different points.
Yeah, I mean, to be down 17 in the first half and then come back and take a lead in the second half, it took a lot of energy to get there and showed a lot of fight to get there. But, you know, I just think we had to expend too much trying to get back out of that hole and just weren't able to recover.
And everybody kind of struggled shooting the basketball, and you heated up at the beginning of the second half and made your run, and then again kind of reverted back to what we saw early in the game where you really struggled over the final 6 minutes, and that's ultimately what let Omaha pull away and ended up with a win.
Yeah, I think Omaha has really been playing well lately. They've got their zone kind of working. It's just a different defense than what we see on a regular basis in this league. And I think, you know, they held Denver in the very next game to 41 points. I think they just have made it tough. They make you take tough shots, and we weren't able to knock them down.
So from there, the frustration is that you have to carry on the road trip and move on and try to forget about it and have a short memory, because Saturday becomes all the more important at this point, because you were battling for third place with Western Illinois. They won Thursday, so to get back into that tie, you had to get them. And this is a team that got you the first time around, but maybe a completely different effort this time around. It seemed like the team came out really prepared and ready to go, and it showed from the start.
Yeah, we were focused. It was a very tough game. Every game we've played against Western has been, you know, really a tough battle back and forth, and I think there were something like 18 lead changes in that ball game, just a back and forth game. But I thought our kids played with great intensity and energy, and we overcame you know, the adversity that we faced through the game, and just were able to get a huge win.
Big part of this one this time, they were not as successful from the perimeter as they were the first time. They hit 13 threes here in Vermillion, just 5 out of 17 in this meeting. And so like we saw during the home winning streak, that was a big part of it. Just the shots weren't necessarily falling for the other team, but defensively the intensity was there that it wasn't there on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, against Western, we talked about it. You kind of pick your poison, and because we locked up a little bit more to their perimeter shooters, we gave Ashley Luke 31 points. But you know, she's tremendous when you play her one-on-one. It's really sad for me to say this, but I thought our post players did a pretty good job guarding her, and we still gave her 31 points.
Very balanced. 6 players in double figures. You had Nicole with 18, Contreras with 15, Harrington had 12, Miller, she was really good. 3rd double-double of the year, 11 points, 10 boards, 7 assists.
Yeah, I mean, it was a spectacular team effort. Lots of people contributing, but I really felt like, you know, Taya turned it on there in the second half, and you know, she didn't have a particularly great first half, statistically speaking, but came out in the second half and was great. Made some spectacular plays down the stretch to give us a 1-point lead, and then to stretch that to a 3-point lead, and just played great for us down the stretch.
All right, well, good luck to you. We'll see you back here next week.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Amy.
Well, Adam Thosby took the roundabout way to South Dakota, but now that he's settled in, the Australian native is starting to flourish for the Coyotes. David Brown has that story next. And welcome back. We wrap things up tonight with our Coyote Corner Athlete of the Week, and this time it's another one of those USD products from down under. David Brown joins us now with more on sophomore Adam Thosby.
Yeah, Jay Thosby, like Nicole Seekamp and Maddie White on the women's team, hails from Australia. But his adjustment to South Dakota has been about more than going to a new country or being in a new school. It's about adjusting to a new role for the Yotes.
Adam Thosby's life has been a series of different environments. He was born in Australia, raised in England, and now he's playing basketball in the United States. But the biggest change he's made in his hoops career thus far came when he transferred from Utah State.
South Dakota recruited me first, actually, and I don't know, seeing South Dakota and where it was, I was just a little bit nervous about the environment, but I was totally wrong about it. I mean, it's a great place to be and it's a great school.
He reconnected with us and visited the campus, and he fell in love with the place, fell in love with our team and our staff, and you know, that was the end of that story of him committing and signing here.
By rule, Thosby had to sit out last season after transferring, but the wait was well worth it as he got to learn more about those around him.
I actually think the biggest thing was becoming closer with the team, and just learning about their personalities more was a lot more helpful than anything I had learned with the system or anything, just being close with everyone else on the team.
Thosby started this season eager to prove himself, but that energy didn't always translate to the court, which is why head coach Joey James made a tough decision to remove Thosby from the starting lineup. But it's a role James is familiar with himself, having his place in the starting lineup taken when he was a senior for the Coyotes.
I try to talk to Adam about the same experience that I had here and kind of walk him through the steps of, you know, just because you're not starting doesn't mean you're not a part of this program. Just because you're not starting doesn't mean you're not going to play.
And Thosby has responded by playing some of his best basketball of the season, using his athleticism to score both inside and out.
I've actually been playing better since I moved to the bench, so if that means I'm helping my team more in that way, then that's fine. It's not an issue at all.
Now, James likes to call Thosby a three-level scorer, someone who can drive to the basket, create their own shot, and shoot from the outside. He's been doing a great job of that coming off the bench now, averaging 8 points a game.
Yeah, and certainly if the Coyotes are going to make a run in March, it's going to help to have him playing well.
Absolutely.
Right. Thanks a lot, David. Well, big weekend for Thosby and the Coyotes as they wrap up their regular season against their two biggest rivals, North Dakota State on Thursday and South Dakota State on Saturday and Sunday. We'll have the men's game live here on Midco Sports Network. Coverage tips off at 4 p.m. from Frost Arena. Tom Neven and Brad Newitt will have the call for you, and then, of course, I'll be back here to break it all down and set the stage for the Summit League Tournament next Tuesday night on another episode of Kyle Corner.